Strap yourself in because today's Celtic news is absolutely wild. We've got Chris Sutton tearing into one of our midfielders, Michael Nicholson finally breaking his silence on that club statement, and a huge update on Daizen Maeda's future at Cumdish. And trust me, the last one is the bombshell you can't miss, so make sure you stay right till the end. Massive thanks to you for helping us smash 1,000 subscribers, but that's just the start. With more than 2,000 views on every story, if you hit subscribe right now, we'll fly past 1,500 subscribers, all backing the Celtic. Let's prove once again that our support is miles beyond anything the Rangers could ever muster. We have 6 news a day to keep you updated with the mighty Celtic. Hit that subscribe button and be part of it. Let's talk about Reo Hatate, eh? Now, I've got all the time in the world for the lad. When he's on song, he's magic, absolutely electric, but right now, let's no kid ourselves, he's miles off it. Chris Sutton's come out and said what a lot of folk have been thinking quietly over a pint at the Brazen Head. Hatate just doesn't look like the same player who used to glide down that left-hand channel like a man possessed. Remember those surging runs into the box that had defenses trembling? They've vanished like sunshine on a Glasgow weekend. When he first came in, he was dynamite, sharp, fearless, linking up play with Calmac and tearing through lines like a proper baller. But this season, it's like the sparks fizzled out. Sutton reckons he's gone backwards, and honestly, you can see it. 1 goal in 13 games, no assists, and a who scored rating that tells its own story, barely scratching a 6.7. That's not Hatate level. That's a lad struggling to find his rhythm. Maybe it's confidence, maybe it's fatigue, maybe it's Brendan's new system throwing him off balance, but you can tell he's second-guessing himself. Instead of driving forward, he's drifting, floating about the pitch without that edge that made him special, and it's hurting Celtic in the final third, no doubt. You look around and apart from Iheanacho, Nygren, and Wee Tunekti, there's not much spark up top. We're lacking that bite, that directness, and Hatate used to bring it in spades. But here's the thing about Celtic players, especially those who've got that fire in them, they bounce back. We've seen lads struggle before, only to roar back stronger when it matters most. Paradise has a way of waking up your soul, and with the season heating up, you can bet Brendan will be having a few quiet words reminding Hatate exactly who he is. One of the most technically gifted midfielders in Scotland when he's on form. So here's what I want to know, and be honest with me, eh? Do you still believe Reo Hatate can turn it around and be that midfield maestro again? Or has he lost his place in this Celtic side for good? Let me know what you think, because that's a question every Hoops fan's been asking themselves lately. Hit that subscribe button. Lads, let's guy it. Lady, till we hit 1,500 mad Celtic daffs. This one's stirred the pot a wee bit, hasn't it? The fallout from that unsigned Celtic statement still hanging in the air like the Glasgow drizzle. Now, we've finally got the minutes from that meeting between the board and the supporter groups, and let's just say Michael Nicholson didn't dodge the heat. He fronted up, kind of, but you can tell this whole thing's left a sour taste in a lot of mouths across Paradise. So, you remember that infamous statement back in early September, right? The one that tried to explain away the disaster of a summer transfer window by waving the UEFA financial rulebook around like it was a holy relic, i.e. that one. They basically said inflated prices, tough market, blah, 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 and then went on to have a wee dig at the media, calling out so-called inaccurate reporting. Well, that didn't sit too well with the Green Brigade, who called it condescending and insulting. And honestly, hard to argue with them there. It felt more like a lecture than communication with the folk who live and breathe Celtic. Now, in this latest meeting, Nicholson admitted what we all knew. The statement wasn't well received. No kidding, Michael. He did try to smooth it over, saying it was never meant to insult anyone. Apparently, it was intended to provide context and show that they were listening, but the way it came across, it just made the gap between the suits and the stands feel even wider. And here's where it gets properly Celtic, board-esque. When he was asked why the statement wasn't signed by anyone, he shrugged and said, "Oh, that's normal practice." Normal practice? For who? Because from where I'm standing, if you're putting out something that rattles your own support, maybe having a name at the bottom would show a wee bit of accountability, eh? He also said something about how the fan collective doesn't speak for all supporters. Fair enough, but come on, you'd need to have been living under a rock not to notice how many folk were fuming after that. Even the most patient supporters were scratching their heads, wondering what direction the club's actually going in. Now, I'll be honest, I get that Nicholson's job isn't easy. He's got to juggle money, image, and the massive expectations of a fan base that demands trophies and ambition. But maybe, just maybe, instead of another sterile press release, what we really need is a bit of honesty, a bit of connection, the kind of spirit that built this club from the ground up. So let me ask you this, and I want you to be straight with me here. Do you still trust this board to take Celtic forward, or do you think they've lost touch with what this club really means to its people? Hit that subscribe button, lads. Let's jay it loudly till we hit 1,500 and mad Celtic daffs. Now here's one that's got every Celtic fan scratching their head. Japanese dynamo Daizen Maeda. The lad's gone from last season's goal machine to this year's big question mark, and I can't lie, it's been a strange one. After smashing in 33 goals last term, cleaning up with the awards and running defenders ragged like a storm tearing through Sucky Hall Street, he suddenly found himself looking a bit off the boil. In the summer, he was right on the verge of an exit. Bags packed, passport ready, the whole lot, but the move collapsed in the final hours of the window. You can tell it rattled him. He even admitted while on international duty that he was disappointed not to get that move away. But now, it sounds like Daizen's changed his tune a wee bit. Speaking back home in Japan, he said, "I decided to stay, so I just have to get on with it." And I tell you what, that's the kind of attitude you want from a proper pro. Head down, get grafting, and let the football do the talking. Rodgers has been tinkering, shifting him out to the right wing lately, and it finally paid off when he popped up with that last gasp winner against Motherwell. You could almost hear the roar echoed down London Road. That goal wasn't just a relief for him. It felt like a wee reminder to everyone that the old Maeda's still in there somewhere waiting to burst back to life. But there's still a bit of worry floating about. He's been away with Japan for the Kirin Cup, called up by Hajime Moriyasu, and reports say he's felt a bit of tightness in his foot. He's tried to calm the noise, saying he just felt a bit off and sat training out. But you know how it goes. When one of our key lads picks up a knock, the whole of paradise holds its breath. The thought of losing his pace and energy even short-term could be a nightmare, especially with the season heating up and hearts breathing down our necks. Still, it's classic Maeda, quiet, humble, and focused. He's not the type to moan or sulk. He just gets on with it. And if Rodgers can find that perfect spot for him again, maybe we'll see the fire that lit up last season's run return, because when Daizen's flying down that wing, defenders panic. You can see it in their faces. They just can't cope with his engine. So here's my wee question for you, and I want you to really think about it. If Maeda's heart's maybe half out the door, would you still keep him in the starting 11 for the rest of the season, or should Celtic cash in while he's still got value and bring in someone who's fully committed to paradise? Hit that subscribe button, lads. Let's jay it. Lordy till we hit 1,500 mad Celtic dafts.